Welcome everybody, my name is Funky314. I'm getting shot at by my bud here, who's an outrageous dick. This is Bond Temple. How are you doing, Bond Temple?
I await the sweet embrace of death.
Man, that is stellar. This video is slightly different. It's something that me and my bud have actually been thinking about for quite a while.
We're gonna run all the dungeons in this zone and currently review and give you our take on this game. Ooh, spooky.
First things first, it's straightforwardly, let's just talk about the gameplay. What is the aspects of the gameplay that really define the game for you?
It's fun. The enemy variety is decent. It's a very fun live, die, repeat, kind of like Dark Souls, but it's a good third-person shooter, kind of like what Gears and other games offer.
Yeah, I will definitely say that the guns, like Dark Souls with guns, is definitely what makes it extremely unique. I think that first we're probably going to bounce this off into the pros and cons. Definitely the pros is this variety, but when it comes to cons, oh my god, the ads are definitely the worst part about this game, and honestly just makes me want to quit half the time. I will also say that in terms of gameplay, the weapons are very, very worth grinding out, is what I find, because it's just the excitement of finding a new weapon and being able to use it, and then putting your inventory to never be used again. But yeah, the definite grind is it's not really the leveling, it's more of just trying to find all the items that you can. And this will actually correlate well into going with the story. First off, I will say going into the story and the lore, it's basically the same as Dark Souls, in which it's very vague and you have to figure out yourself. So for the most part, all that you really know is you go, you find a boss, you kill it, you move on to the next part. The closest thing we ever got to the story was, hey, the Soul King needs a heart. Okay, so we have the heart. Okay, so now you can give it to a Arachnid Queen, or you can give it to him, and each one gives you different rewards. Okay, thank you. It is Moth. And that was probably the biggest story that we got, because even after that, we had no idea what was going on. Going back to what you were saying, what do you think about the, what is actually your favorite weapons? What do you think about the variety of weapons that are given to you?
The variety of weapons are good. There would be some other things that I would try and cover with like what weapons can do and type of weapons that you can have in different slots. The secondary is you're basically locked to pistols, 2 different SMGs, and then a revolver that has buckshot as its ability, which leads into the mods. And the boss weapons are fun, but their mod slots are what hold them back. No, I would say the weapon design is kind of, it's good, but it's lacking at the same time.
It's niche
because you may prefer long range stuff, but unless you stop in take the time to either upgrade the hunting rifle in the beginning of the game, or find a sniper rifle, or get just the right boss or the right area to get a certain gun, you're not going to get the type of long-range playstyle that you enjoy. Or say you've seen like YouTube or like gameplay for the game on the internet, you're not going to get the fucking weapons that I find ideal unless the stars align, which is where I feel that it is fun and gives it replay value, but is also lacking.
Yeah, and the different perks that you get is both a highlight, but I definitely feel like it can also be improved upon still. The details, not really the details, but the artwork made on enemies and the designs of them are
very unique.
They're unique and original, and they really fit within the context of the game.
And not to mention, they make a lot of sense in the biome that you find them in. So, like, the swamp planet, I think, what's it called? It's called Yaisha? No, Yaisha's like the midnight one.
Yaisha. Yeah, Yaisha is the midnight one.
Well, anyway, there's a planet that's a swamp area, and people look like they have like mud and like the type of like barnacles that you would see on like a bayou boat.
Look infected. They look sick.
Yeah, and then they also have like a little, like a swamp kind of dog?
Yeah.
Fish hybrid, and he jumps into the watery / super muddy areas, and he swims underneath there to surprise attack you, which is a very neat environment interaction. So for example, if you compare that to the area that we're in, which these guys are like, kind of like if you ever seen Star Wars, and franchises, blah to me. They're like Tusken Raiders, you know, they're kind of like savage scavengers. It makes sense because it would be like the wildlife that they've had to use to live off of, or even maybe like say bones of their own tribe, just to have that little extra protection to get the jump on them. And who's to say all the enemies that we fight in this area are, you know, on the same side? They could be enemies and they are just coincidentally the same battle style.
So you're saying that there's different tribes that could be constantly at war with each other.
And they could be fending for each other, which would make sense on why they attack us on sight.
It actually does make me think about it. If they ever make add-on content, I want to see more enemies versus enemies, because that could be a very good situation.
If you think about it in your terms, Gaesha, fucking, there's two different types of goat people. And one's friendly and one's enemy.
Yeah, I mean, that was true. And we never really get to see them interacting because we were the ones who did most of the fighting. We only saw them fight through the cutscene.
The one cutscene was Big Boss Goat Lady killed different goat people, and that was it.
And that was my other problem, is that a lot of the characters that you find, you really only talk to probably once or twice, and then you kind of leave alone. Where like in
If they're not a merchant, they're not important.
Yeah, where I find that most of Dark Souls, a lot of the characters that you meet actually have extreme importance both to like a side quest or a story. When I played through it.
Yeah.
And there's a meaning to talk to them. Meanwhile, like back at the Survivor camp, the NPCs that you talk to.
Honestly, the NPCs kind of feel lackluster because they either have only small little story bits that they give you if you bring them a specific item, which in turn just gives you a reward, which is lackluster. So for example, there's a character named Reggie, who in the tutorial gives you your Dragon Heart charges, your Estus Flask, your heal potions, whatever you need to call them in this game. He gives you 3 of those, and that's it. Other than that, he's a consumable vendor. You go to him if you need more ammo boxes or anything like that, and that's about it. But you give him an old tattered ring that you can find randomly on a dungeon on Earth, and he'll give you a trait that gives you more scrap to make more currency throughout the game. So, other than minor interactions or the fact that they're merchants, NPCs don't really matter in this game. Find out a little bit more. But if you don't count bosses, literally the main NPCs that you talk to progress the game are the little boy, the owner of the ward, the goat lady, the grandpa, the labyrinth owner.
We don't even get to see much of the labyrinth, and the labyrinth is something that I was very enticed by. Like, I really want to see more of it.
There's also more rooms of the labyrinth, and we had to get the labyrinth key from the Undying King, so there could be more there, and we just haven't gone yet. The lighting for the worlds really show off the complex textures and modeling that they did for each thing, and each type of enemy also has its own, well, not each, but some of them have sub-variations, like the spearmen that you see in this area. There's a variant which is basically the same, but they have less health and move faster, but they throw exploding spears to make them more of a priority threat. And, not to mention, the game can beat you down, but also praise you, because the way they do that is not only does it scale based on like your gear, and the experience can be, say you want to play the first time on easy solo, and then you could come back and play a completely different story on hardcore with your friends. Because not only will your friends make it a different experience, the game has a unique feature where no one's layout, the story will always be the same, but no one's world layout will be the same. So if we came to the same planet on my lobby, instead of my lobby, we could be in the same exact world, but it'll be completely different. We won't have this dungeon, we might have different enemy types. That first boss that we just fought, we might not even see him. And the cool part is you can reset the adventure mode, which is what we're doing right now, which is basically you just run the dungeons on one planet that are randomly generated, and you get the stuff. So like that first boss that you just saw us do, it was our first time doing it, but now, since we have fought him, we can go get his material, but then we could reset this mode and maybe get a completely different boss from the exact same dungeon. That's why the game is so good and so bad at the same time. Your ideal weapon, say, for example, if you're a run and gun, spray and pray, assault rifle kind of guy, or kind of player even, it may take you the whole goddamn story to even get the assault rifle. You might have to replay or just farm adventure mode over and over and over again until you get it. But that's what gives the game its replay value. It helps it and it hurts it all at the same time. Say, for example, my melee weapon that I have currently, but this is also another thing that adds some variety, is from a boss in the game, which is a dragon. But you can kill the dragon in two different ways. You can kill him normally, or you can break off his tail. Breaking off his tail gives you a flaming melee sword, which can inflict bleed and burn damage on enemies, which can debuff them and give you some time to heal and can be a real lifesaver. Or you can get one of Funky's favorite weapons, which is a flaming SMG, which its special mod power, which is a thing that, like, think of it as an alt fire guns get or an alt ability, is it becomes a flamethrower.
Sound is
too fucking loud.
It's not really original. I don't find the sound design to be original. I don't find it to be strong, and it's definitely one of the forgotten aspects of the game.
You come here for the gameplay, and you don't really care about the extras. The story's okay. If you take the time to study it, the sound design is hit or miss depending on what you're going for. Gun sounds are really good, but they're stupid loud. The people have a very serious tone, which causes them to almost whisper, which is hard to hear at many times. And there's not very much music in the background, so it's hard to really enjoy, say, boss themes. And going from that point, well, that means that you really come here for the gameplay.
Thing is, when it comes down to gameplay, like, this is gonna be a very, very scattered review. I'm gonna be straightforward with that. Everything that I notice is that there really isn't that much of a hidden spot because everything is RNG. You don't really find any secrets that you would want. Yeah, but yeah, all in all, the game is definitely worth it to get.
If you like challenging games or third-person shooters, it is a good game for solo. If you get it with a group of friends, it is a great game. We'll call that the Borderlands effect, where it's really good by yourself, but when you have friends, it is exponential.
All in all, if we're gonna go by type of rating, I would definitely give this game a 4 out of 5. The only reason why I wouldn't give it 5 out of 5 is because it's really nothing against developers, but it's literally the first game that we know of from them. And I find that there could have been a bit more
too grindy.
Not really grindy, but more like investment of trying to find secrets and whatnot. And the RNG definitely kind of hurts it when it comes to exploration. Because the one thing that at least I noticed going through each of the levels, there's a lot of recycled. Oh my god, there's a lot of recycled map usage. That's my take on this. What will your rating be?
All right, well, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna go against the grain because I'm just that kind of person. With solo, it is a 3 out of 5. It is a good, average, okay third-person shooter that has some good challenge to it. If you're playing co-op, I will give it a 5 out of 5 because it's just a lot of games are fun to run difficult boss fights, run dungeons with your friends, whether it's RNG to get the stuff that you even want, or if it's just dumb luck or however you want to phrase it. It's just a good all-around great co-op experience because if you're in a boss fight and your friend only has one heal, he's going to determine if that one heal is picking you up or if he wants to be full health. So where risk and reward is something that we also talked about for this, is I feel something that helps make this game excel as a co-op experience. And co-op games like that do really, really well if done correctly, which I feel that this game has done risk and reward co-op quite well. But as a solo player, you don't want that much risk. You would prefer more reward, less, oh no, I have to use all my heals and all my ammo, and still be absolutely punished for it, and may not even get a weapon that you like, or even a mod that you like. Because if you just want to run through and kill and do the main story and not explore, you might miss some serious upgrades that could help you in the game. You might miss the turret mod. You might miss a random dungeon boss that could give you your next favorite weapon. Like one of Funky's favorite weapons is the Devastator, which is a crossbow that shoots 5 bone bolts, and its special mod is it shoots a harpoon that does bleeding damage. So if, say, we accidentally skipped that dungeon because we just did main missions, he would have never known that he liked that gun, or we would have never even got that gun, or knew of that boss. So it's really, if you have the time to put into it with friends, that's where the game excels.
And I believe that unless you have anything else to say, which I believe you don't.
Great game, 10 out of 10.
It's all about the Cowboys. This is actually the big secret. This is actually a Western. It is based on the Mad Max franchise. And
this is Red Dead
secretly,
Redemption 3.
People never really knew about it. See, that's why I like the lever action, because I could say it's high noon. While also cosplaying as Worried Thor. Or Worried Kratos.
You were very worried, Kratos.
This isn't even part of my timeline. Anyway, I just want to thank anybody who really came on in. This is our first review, and I will admit it was kind of rough because we are kind of doing this live on that live stream as well, which you can always catch me over on Twitch or Mixer at Funky314. And I just gotta say thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.